Welcome back to Par Breakers Golf Academy. I'm Bernard Sheridan. We'd like to congratulate Rory McIllroy on regaining his position as the #1 player on the PGA Tour after winning the Bridgestone. And one of the main reasons why he's done that is because he's been driving the ball incredibly well. And when he drives the ball very well, he has the opportunity to really take advantage and tear the golf course apart. So he's really a long driver of the ball, and we're going to see why here, and we're going to see what Rory does that you can do in your swing that's going to help you. So initially what we want to look at is the takeaway right from the start. And as Rory starts to take the club away, what I want you to notice is very immediately the face begins to rotate open, and that club stays on plane. And by the time he gets to just about that 9 o'clock position, the face is just slightly closed and in a great position to really stay out in front of him. And what I mean by that is that with the red line that I've drawn here, if we look, his hands are very much staying out in front of him and the shaft is moving down the line. Notice how his hands are right on that red line. And that's an indicator that his hands are staying right down his foot line and not coming inside. We're not seeing any hinging of his wrist until he gets to just about, I want to say 8 o'clock, then he starts to hinge. And then that hinge starts to take that club right on plane, and he still is directly in front of himself. So what do we mean by that? Well, what do we mean by that is, here's what you can take away from this in your swing. You want to keep your left arm directly in front of your sternum. And if we look, we can see that that's happening here for Rory. His left arm is directly in front of his sternum, and he still has a solid connection of his upper arms, in other words, his biceps, to his core, which means for us, his biceps are touching his pectoral muscles as he moves back. And he's still really in front of himself, and then his hands start to lift as he gets to full position with a shoulder turn. And then he has a full hinge to get the club parallel, and I want you to know there's no cupping in his left wrist in that gloved hand at the top there of his left wrist, which is a great position. Now, how does Rory hit it so far? Well, here's how. Two things are going to happen that we're going to see. One is he's going to create a tremendous amount of ground force. How does he do that? He actually has a squat on the way down. His knees flex. It's almost like he's going to jump off the ground, as if he was making a jump shot, okay, as a basketball player. Crank it up, build some ground force. And second is to continue to keep that lag where it needs to be and not release the club yet. Notice how he's still hinging with that left hand, okay? And as he comes right into plane here, his hands are now in front of him and right back to where we started, right over his feet, but well behind the ball. And now he's going to just rope everything through with a major rotation of his core. And that's where that core rotates. He continues to stay on that line and really let that shaft create even more. And there's, again, still holding that angle. This is incredible stuff. And then right into impact with that shaft leaning well ahead. And that's why it looks like it's so much higher of being on plane here. And that shaft is well ahead. And it really is still right on plane. And that face is as square as the day is long. And now he's going to trace that shaft right down that target line. So that is a main dynamic that has to happen. That shaft has to move down the target line through the delivery of impact and through the release point. And notice how the face, by this point, his hands are just about at 4 o'clock. The face is aiming left. It is not aiming at the target. He is not steering the ball. And then he just allows it to release. Had a full weight shift, comes right out on plane on his shoulder. Continues to rotate to a full finish and get his shoulder to the target, which helps keep that shaft on plane the whole time through impact and to the finish, and gets that ball to stay right on line. So our great congratulations to the new number one, and to Rory regaining his number one status. And we're going to see a little dogfight here, probably going into the end of the round. This is going to throw some fuel in for Adam Scott too. And we're seeing Sergio start to come together. But for some reason, Sergio kind of does not pull it through in the last round. He needs to have a better last round to start to become a little bit more dominant. Not sure whether that's ever going to happen for him. We wish him all the best, of course. But Rory is really dominating now, and more than likely will dominate through the rest of this season. Now the Tiger is back out of the picture, and I believe that even if Tiger wasn't out of the picture, Rory would still be dominating. He's much younger. He's much healthier. There's no problems. And since he's single, he can focus totally on his game and really just go crazy. So we wish him all the luck in the world. And from Parbreakers Golf Academy, as always, thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget to listen to our weekly instructional podcast on iTunes called Breaking Par with Bernard Sheridan. And that's me. And thanks again for being with us. I'm always so glad that you're watching, and we so appreciate your subscribing to our channel. And if you haven't done that yet, then make sure you do, because you'll get a new video every week. Because we're here to help you take control of your game. Until next time, try to keep it in the short grass.